This is a new bonus episode today where I share the huge Pyramid Lake fly fishing trip giveaway and chat with Got Fishing's Brian Oakland on all the great details. This is the Wet Fly Swing Fly Fishing Show. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thanks for stopping by the Fly Fishing Show. I've got a quick little bonus episode for you today where I talk to Brian Oakland from gotfishing.com. Brian and I dig into this giveaway that we've launched this week. It's going to be going on with a bunch of bonuses and more giveaways for the next few weeks here. So, we hear about Pyramid Lake, the huge cutthroat trout that are in there, a bunch of stuff. We hear a little bit about Brian's background. So let's just jump into it. Without further ado, here's Brian Oakland. How's it going, Brian?
You know, it's going really well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We're going to dig into, this is, I guess, a little bit of a bonus episode. We're going to jump into the giveaway we have going, which is awesome on Pyramid Lake. But before we jump into that, can you talk about how the whole got fishing thing and how I'm not sure exactly how much you fly fish versus kind of traditional fishing, but maybe you can talk about how it all came to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So really, I had the luxury of being born and raised in Montana, and was lucky enough to have a dad that got me out in the backcountry, from the time I was really, really little. And so I had a passion for it my entire life. And mainly DIY, to be honest with you. But as I got older and started going on some of these different adventures, I realized, just how quickly and how many things can go wrong, when we're spending the kind of time, energy, and particularly money, whether it's going to Alaska, another country, or even just, scooting over to another state to experience it. There's a lot that goes into it. And so Got Fishing was really created as an insurance policy for the angler out there to make sure that they're having the best adventure possible. Everything that we do for the outdoorsman or the angler is 100% free. They never pay a dime extra for the trips that they're going on. Outfitter, just to answer, well, how do you get paid? The outfitter does take care of us on the back end. But all trips are the exact same price, and in many instances are less expensive because of the relationship that we have with the outfitters. So really our purpose is to make sure that when you're going off to spend your time and your money and want to go create some cool memories with friends and family, that we make sure that happens. Obviously, we can't control weather. We can't control the actual fishing. But there are a lot of things that we can control that can really make a trip go in the right direction or in the wrong.
Nice. And Pyramid Lake is a place that we're going to talk about mostly today. But can you speak to a little bit on some of the locations that you focus on? I know you have a good handful of places around the world, I think. Can you talk about some of the details there?
Yeah, absolutely. So our portfolio, we do not have a really deep portfolio, and we do that on purpose. We try to create really strong relationships with our outfitters. That being said, we do have a great offering all over Alaska, Mexico, Belize, Christmas Island, all over Argentina. So we do have a pretty diverse offering. And in each one of those locations, we're working with the best of the best. Now, that doesn't always necessarily mean the most expensive. It just means that the outfitters and guides that really are running a first-class operation and, are fulfilling exactly what it is that the client is expecting.
Gotcha. And so that kind of leads into, my next question when I think of, I think we connected, I can't remember exactly where, but we started talking and, Yellow Dog is one of those big companies out there doing a similar thing to what you're doing. But how do you, separate yourself, or how would you say you're different from, say, a Yellow Dog or some of those other travel companies out there?
Well, first off, I love Yellow Dog. I think that, Jim and his crew have done an incredible job of really kind of setting the stage for other booking agencies out there. They've done a great job. Now, their niche is strictly fly fishing. And the one thing about Yellow Dog is they do have a deep portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
And so what makes Scott Fishing a little bit different is we do cater to all styles of fishing, whether it be conventional or fly fishing. Most of our clients do seem to lean toward the fly fishing aspect of it. But again, we cater to both. And then I think the other difference is that we have intentionally made our offering a little bit smaller so that we can really be more intimate with the outfitter, the details of the location, and really be able to articulate the experience that the person is going to have and be confident that that's actually going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's when I first, and that's what it sounds like, you have kind of the South America, North America, all the major destinations there covered. I think that was, we probably won't talk much about Mexico here on this one, but maybe down the line we'll get another episode in to talk about, that trip, which you're leaving on, right? You said pretty soon you're head to the Yucatan?
Yeah, actually tomorrow morning.
Oh,
I
wow.
will be in a plane heading down there.
Amazing. All right. So this is good. So when you get back, I'll get all the details on that. And so I'm interested, that's another place I'm interested in. But I guess the hot topic here is Pyramid Lake, because we're doing this giveaway, which just launched, basically this week, or I guess next week, talking in the future, when we publish this. But it's going to be awesome because we're giving away this trip for somebody to go out to catch a pretty amazing cutthroat. Can you talk a little bit about, take us to Pyramid Lake and tell us why this is such a destination in as far as North America?
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about this giveaway and what makes it different from a lot of the ones that you're seeing out there. But I would say that Pyramid is one of those things that makes it different. And it's certainly a popular place today. A lot of people hadn't heard about it a few years ago, but now thanks to social media, a lot more people are hearing about it. It's located in Nevada, about an hour out of Reno. And you're chasing the Lahontan cutthroat. And they can range from 5 pounds to over 20 pounds. A lot of people go to Pyramid really because of what they hear about this ladder fishing. And we've got a video that we can send out to people to give them a better idea on this. But ladder fishing essentially is just that. You haul a ladder out depending on where the shore is. You can be hauling it out 20, 30, 50, 60 yards out into the water. And the reason that you use a ladder over Pyramid is really twofold. One is the waves. Once you get out into the water, casting the distance that you need to, you're going to be having water literally come up over your waist and sometimes in your face. So the ladder gets you up out of the water. The second reason is it gives you ability to cast a further distance. Pyramid it's basically, a shelf. And there's 3 different shelves in there, and you use the ladder so that you can get out there far enough to be able to cast just over the shelf where those fish are, cruising, looking for a little snack. And so, yeah, that's really what the attraction is of Pyramid is giant cutthroat on a fly rod or conventional. We do both. But that's kind of been what you're seeing a lot on social media is this ladder fishing for giant cutthroat.
That's it. Yeah. And I've seen some of those videos, and yeah, it looks interesting. You obviously that kind of gets your curiosity going when you see people up on a ladder. Is it, when you think about the fishing, and I'll put a link in the show notes. You mentioned a video. I'll put a link there to that video. And also at wetflyswing.com/giveaway will be the link that'll redirect over to where anybody can enter this giveaway we have going. But, would you say this is is fishing difficult for the fly fishing to catch these fish, or what's that look like?
I wouldn't say that it's easy, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that it's difficult either. Typically, the style that we're using an 8-weight fly rod. If we're doing it off the ladder, we're typically using an 8-weight fly rod. And then one of our favorite ways to do it is using a balance head leech under a strike indicator. You can also use a sink and strip some streamers. But more popular ways to do it right now, at least with our crew, is using the balance head leech with a strike indicator. And, it's basically if you're able to cast, get that out. There is always a little bit of wind at Pyramid, which you want. Gets things stirred up a little bit. And typically you want that wind blowing in your face because, again, that water is cranking off of those shelves, stirring things up, and that's what the fish are looking for. So you actually do want the weather to be a little bit windy, and the ability to cast into the wind is a little bit important, obviously. But once you get it out there, it's pretty easy. Once that indicator goes under, you set that hook, and you'll know immediately you're into a different kind of fish. That's what makes it so special. Is when you're watching that indicator, when it goes under, you know the chance. There's a very, very real chance that you could be hooking into a 13, 15, 18, even a 20-pound cutthroat.
Jeez.
On a fly rod.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is.
And when I think of cutthroat, it even seems crazier to me because I think of West Slope cutthroat or even coastal cutthroat, and and they're tiny. Well, most of them, they're small fish because they're west side streams, and they're they're 12 inches. They're not 12 pounds. So the thought of catching a cutthroat in the 12-pound range or bigger, and I've done a little bit of Lahontan cutthroat in southeast Oregon. There's some lakes over there that have populations, or at least used to. So I'm pretty excited about this. I'm going to be heading out. We're going to meet up along with Dennis from Wild Fish, Wild Places, and that's part of the giveaway that we're going to do. And I just want to note before we move on here, Phil Rowley, I'll put a link to that episode as well. He covered balanced leeches and all that stuff. He's kind of the guru on that. So, but as far as the fishing, again, let's just wrap this up real quick. Do people, are they out there in float tubes, or is this mostly a ladder fishing thing?
A lot of people do use some float tubes. We also go out there in boats. But because of the weather at Pyramid, you be careful. You get out on the water and get too far out when that weather moves in. So yeah, a lot of guys do bring some float tubes. We've had some fishing trips where some of our crew got out there, but again, you're really not that far offshore because you're fishing again those shelves. But yeah, the lake can churn fairly quickly. So Gotcha. Cool. Well, let's dig into this. Let's dig into this giveaway a little bit. Maybe talk about, we've been kind of behind the scenes putting this together and talking, like I said, with Dennis and, us three kind of going in and making this amazing thing. I think it is going to be pretty amazing, what we have going. Can you talk a little about what we're going to provide to the winner of this thing? Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching, obviously social media the last few years, different companies, different outfitters, even a few different podcasts, do these giveaways to kind of, maybe it's appreciation for the listeners, maybe it's a way of generating some more followers, and all good intentions, but the giveaways have been kind of bland, for lack of a better term. And so I thought that, with all of the followers that we have at Got Fishing, I know that you've got a really strong following, and obviously Wild Fish, Wild Places has been around for a long time, and it has a deep following too. I thought that it'd be fun to really put together a giveaway that not a lot of people are seeing out there, where we're not only giving away some tools of the trade, some fly rods, some waders, some hats, some stickers, some lines, some leader, but also have this thing end with a true prize that someone, is really going to enjoy. And so what we did was came up with something that would be, easy and accessible for people, but also a really, really first-class experience. And so we're going to do a giveaway where the first prize is going to be a 2-day trip, fully guided, I guess you'd call it, trip to Pyramid Lake. Yep.
And the fully guided piece is Dennis, right? You talk Dennis at Wild Fish, Wild Places. He actually has a boat, right? That he uses out on the lake. This is right in Dennis's backyard. He's been fishing Pyramid Lake for years. He knows all the ins and outs. He knows all the special places to go fishing. He knows all the kind of the culture and history behind it. So yeah, that's the big reason that we picked it, is just the ability to really put on a first class experience for the winter. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah. And I think you mentioned a couple of things. The big trip at the end is the big giveaway. I think we might even have a secondary trip we're going to be giving away, and then the products. And there's a few companies I think we all are affiliated with that we're going to be giving away. In fact, this is probably when this airs, it will be on maybe day 3 of the launch of this giveaway. So there's probably a new product that's going to be, we're going to give away to separate, right? It's not going to be just one winner. We're going to have multiple winners.
Yeah, that's it. And that's kind of one of the things that we see out there with these giveaways is, maybe they're even giving away a trip, or they're giving away a pair of waders, and it's a 3-week wait until the winner. I thought on this one, we would, be giving away something every other day. Again, fly rods and reels and line and hats, and just make it fun for those that are getting involved in this, and let them know that this isn't just going after one prize or the first or second, that there's lots of stuff that we're going to be giving away over the 3 weeks, and lots of people are going to be winning some really cool stuff.
Cool. And can you break down a little bit? I mentioned the link, wetflyswing.com/giveaway, which will redirect over to the page where people can sign up. Can you talk about what they need to do to enter this thing, and how they can maybe get more entries into winning this?
Yeah. We're going to make it really, really simple for people. So they'll have a link, like you said, that they can click on. That will take them to a landing page that just has the simple rules. And really, it's just going to be a quick sign up, name and email address. And then you will get extra. So that will get you signed up. And then beyond that, we'll be giving out extra points for the different follows. We'll have at least 3 Instagram pages that we're going to be growing. Then in addition to that, we'll occasionally be marketing or sponsoring one of our companies, such as Adams Built, which is going to be giving away a lot of different gifts and prizes along the way. And so we might be asking, for some extra points for people to go follow them. But all of the rules will be right there, and different ways that you can earn extra points to make sure you're in the best position possible to win that big trip to Pyramid.
Gotcha. So let's touch base. We've talked about Dennis. I just want to, I don't want to miss this, because I think this is the exciting thing, I think, to have Dennis involved. He's got a TV show. Can you talk just briefly about Dennis? I'm going to have him on here actually in a couple weeks. But can you talk about his show and how you connected with him?
Yeah, absolutely. I had the good fortune of connecting with Dennis. Gosh, it's been almost 3 years now. We were introduced, and he had been traveling all over the world doing this TV show. And so it was a perfect fit for him and I to hook up, where he had already opened up the door to a lot of these lodges. And these lodges were looking for different opportunities to market their adventure or their experience. And so they were extremely receptive to Got Fishing. And since then, we've had we've just really kind of extended our relationships with these outfitters because of the relationship that Wild Fish, Wild Places and Got Fishing does. Just as an example, we do a lot of hosted trips together. We were just out at Classic Lake last year, where we took, I think, 6 clients with us. And then we also filmed 2 or 3 episodes for Wild Fish, Wild Places. And so we just filled the lodge with clients that were there to just have a great time, film some episodes, actually film some commercials for some of our sponsors, and everybody just had a blast. So we do a lot of stuff like that together. And yeah, just overall, really promote each other's adventures and what we've got going on. And that's why we were so excited to find out about you. There's a lot of people out there that are doing podcasts, or at least getting to the world. But, we took a look at the interviews that you have done and how long you've been around, and really, really excited to, have you a part of this synergistic team that we've been putting together. And I think that's kind of why, we've come up with this giveaway is a way of, kind of launching our relationships with the 3 different companies, kind of letting the world know that we're all partnering up to bring, the best fishing content out there in some really awesome forms, whether it be podcast, TV, or actually going on the adventure. And I think that this giveaway is just a great way to not only let our current followers and current clients know what we've got going on, but also let the rest of the fishing world know that this is a great place to learn more about fishing and techniques, particularly through your podcast. But also, we're going to plan, as you and I were talking about, we're going to be doing one of these giveaways at this level at least once a quarter. So if for some reason you don't win big on this particular one, you will win this year. I guarantee it. With all the stuff we're giving away through the three companies, I think everybody's going to be a winner.
Yeah. I love that, Brian. I think you might even called it the bromance, right? Which is a funny word. I love it. I think it has, because when I first connected with you, I didn't really know you, and then it was kind of like I was trying to build these. The same thing. I'm trying to make these trips to provide some value for my listeners of the show, and then also have a way to support the podcast, right? It's kind of a double thing. And you were just kind of there and chatting. It made sense. I didn't even know Wild Fish, Wild Places. I knew of the show, but I didn't know you guys had a connection. And so I think obviously it's a small world, and I think we're going to do our best to just provide some cool resources for everybody as we go. So again, I noted the link. I'm going to have it in the show notes. Do you want to do one more shot here? Just, if you had somebody comes to you, talks about this giveaway, there's a zillion giveaways out there, right? There's giveaways for, you name it. There's plenty of fishing giveaways, hunting giveaways. I mean, sell this giveaway. If you do another one, you've already talked a little bit about, but really sell Pyramid Lake to somebody who maybe hasn't been there before. And why would they take a minute of their time to enter their email into this giveaway?
Okay, perfect. Well, if you enjoy fishing, if you enjoy, different adventures, then Pyramid Lake is one of the special things that we have in the lower 48. You're not going to go to many bodies of water that you have the opportunity to, like we said, hook into a 10, 12, 15, 20 pound cutthroat. So I think that in and of itself makes it extremely unique. It also can be a bit of an intimidating body of water to fish. So I think that this is a great opportunity for someone, if they have been considering going to Pyramid, or if they've heard about it. There couldn't be a better way to come experience 2 days on Pyramid with the crew that we have, especially having Dennis there, having fished every inch of that lake. I think that it's a real awesome opportunity for those that have heard about it, or for those that haven't heard about it but are like, dang, that sounds like a blast. I think the other reason is because the requirements for the contest are going to be to follow some really cool companies. You should be following Got Fishing and learning about all of the awesome adventures that we have and the different deals and discounts. You should be following, the Wet Fly Swing podcast, and you should be following Wild Fish, Wild Places. So the things that we're asking people to do in order to participate in the contest are, things that people should be doing anyway if they're into fishing and conservation and tips and tricks and things like that. So. And the other reason I think is because all of the stuff we're going to be giving away, every other day, and it's not going to be low level stuff. It's going to be really cool, usable things that people are going to be interested in winning. So I think for 3 weeks, it's just going to be nothing but nonstop people winning. And I think, the first prize of Pyramid Lake is huge. But, the second thing that we're doing, the second prize, because you had mentioned it earlier, we're doing is a day of blue ribbon fishing here in Idaho. All you got to do is fly into Boise, Idaho, and the winner and I will go over some different options here in Idaho. But we've got some amazing rivers, and the second prize is the first prize on a lot of giveaways. So I think the whole thing is, I think we've done a great job of putting together something that people should be excited about winning. And just to touch into that first prize again, yes, we're going to Pyramid, but that person is also going to be decked out head to toe in brand new waders, brand new boots, an 8-weight fly rod, some glacier gloves. They're going to come out with a ton of brand new gear in addition to a great experience. So that's why I'd be signing up.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned the guiding thing. I think that's one of the things, right? Anybody, I guess you could go to Pyramid Lake, but I've interviewed a bunch of guides on here, and the more I interview people, the more you realize just even getting a guide for a day, how critical that is, and the learning curve, that instead of going on your own over there and maybe not catching fish or catching few fish, you get yourself a guide and you have a chance, like you said, legitimately at a 10, maybe 20 pound trout. So I think that's another big bonus of this thing.
Absolutely. Anytime that someone's going to fish a new body of water, I always recommend that they get a guide for at least a day. absolutely makes life easier the next few days, even for the DIY guys that go out. I always recommend, no matter where you're going, you should get a guide the first day, pick their brain the whole day. And it really makes the next few days that you're out there fishing a lot easier. In this particular case, you get a free guide. And as someone who has been fishing this body of water for years and years and years, and you get to hang out with a team of anglers that have been doing this for a long, long time. So I think it would be, I know that I would love to come hang out. So it'd be great.
Sure. And what's the as far as the best time or the different times to go? Is there a better time to fish it? I know it's open from, I think, October through late June. And also, can you talk a little bit about the best time, and then also fishing license, right? Because it's a tribal fishing license you need. Yes.
So the tribal fishing license is actually taken care of right there at the lake. We have a little town there. The winter will be. We'll get the winter's fishing license once we arrive on there. But yeah, it's not a standard Nevada fishing license. It's specifically a tribal, as you mentioned, a tribal license, because Pyramid does sit on, obviously, tribal grounds, which Dennis can do a great job in that podcast of giving you some back history, not only on the fish, but just kind of the whole 9 yards. He has a lot of history and knowledge on the place, so that'll be fun for the listeners. And as far as the best time of year, I think everybody has an opinion on that. And so what we decided to do is really kind of work with the winter. Instead of us picking the date, we have a lot of flexibility. And because there's a bunch of different times where the fishing can be really good, we thought that we would leave it up to the winter to see what worked best for them.
So cool. And so before we get out of here, I just wanted to make sure one thing I try to do whenever, I do these shows is talk about the 222, which is, top 2 flies, top 2 tips, top 2 resources. And do you want to jump into that? I mean, do you have a couple of flies that you would say, is it pretty standard what you use out there, or are there specific patterns?
For me, it's the chartreuse balance head leech.
Okay, chartreuse.
Yeah, I've had a ton of luck out there with it. And, my tip would be actually, and I learned this at Jurassic Lake last year in Argentina, because we were doing very similar styles fishing, but obviously with no ladders. And that's once you get that cast out there, a really slow strip in, instead of just letting it sit there, created a lot of action down in Jurassic. And I actually had the good fortune of going down to Pyramid, I think it's been about a month and a half ago, and to try that exact same technique, and it had immediate success. Both Dennis. Yeah.
That's awesome. So
slow strip on a balance head each underneath an indicator. And so that was just a little technique that we were using, and turned out to be effective back here in the States also.
Gotcha. And so basically you have, you mentioned you're an 8-weight, so you have a heavier setup. And when you make that cast with your indicator, you make it out there and you let it sink until you're trying to get that fly pretty close to the bottom or just above those fish?
Yeah, we're typically running about 10 feet. I mean, it varies. Typically, I'm putting my indicator about 10 feet above my leech. And you don't want it obviously dragging off the ground, but you also don't want it suspended too far up in the water column either. So kind of a fine line of finding where the bottom is and then coming off of it a couple feet is what's worked best for me.
Okay. And how about on that resource? This sometimes can be a tough one. Are there any resources you know of out there, maybe books, magazines, videos, obviously you've been with Dennis, so that, I guess that's the big resource, but anything else you know of that's out there online or anything you can get to learn about Pyramid?
In this day and age, especially in the last year, there is a ton of content that is out there on social media and on YouTube. And I think if you just go out and Google or get on YouTube and search for techniques or Pyramid Lake fishing, you're going to come up with a ton of them. I do also know that there are some really quality outfitters and guides in Reno that are taking guys out there also and showing them the ropes.
That's right. And I think there's at least a couple podcasts. I think I'll put links in the show notes to those. I think there was some that might have been the Reno podcast where they talked about pyramid and
we're a big Mike with the Reno Fly Shop. So if anybody's looking for a good quality guide out pyramid, Mike with the Reno Fly Shop is a stud.
Okay, cool. All right, Brian, well, let's wrap this up with I got a quick little rapid fire round if you want to finish this up and head out of here.
Yeah, see how I do.
All right, so fly versus gear versus hunting. You can only pick one for the rest of your life. Which one do you go with?
Fly.
Really?
Yeah.
For some reason, I was expecting you to say hunting.
Well, it's like hunting. So much of the fishing that we do today.
Yeah.
I like the Mexico trip that I'm getting ready to go do for the next 7 days. Every day I climb into the front of that panga, I'm hunting for the permit. So I do definitely love hunting, as you know. But if I could only do one, I would probably have to do the fly because it encompasses a few of my passions.
Okay, cool. And this one's another random one here. I got an interview later today coming up with Klaus, and I know he smokes, which is always interesting to me, and it's kind of a vice. But do you have any vices that you either in the currently or past that you've kind of maybe had to get rid of, or something that maybe wasn't the healthiest thing?
Well, that's a whole other podcast. Yes, in my youth, I definitely lived I had an adventurous spirit, let's just say that. And I've had multiple vices that I have had to kick to the curb along the way.
Uh-huh.
I no longer drink. I've been sober for 14 years.
14 years?
14 years of sobriety.
Amazing.
I used to chew tobacco. I've been tobacco free for 13 years. And there's some other advices along the way that I go to, like I said, different podcasts. I say my biggest vice these days is, embarrassingly enough, energy drinks. My daughter's always hounding on me about my energy drink consumption.
Just too many energy drinks, too much sugar or whatever.
I'm not a big fan of the rock stars or the monsters, and I have to agree with her.
Yeah, well, this is maybe this is some words of advice that I learned about this week, and I don't want to leave it on a negative tone, but I had a friend that, kind of not a super close friend, but, he kind of he was talking about how life was rough and all this stuff. And he was kind of having a hard time with his work. And, just this week I learned that the guy had a heart attack, and he's 61. So he's not super, on the younger side, but again, it just seemed like he was a super healthy guy and all that stuff. But I think it goes back to that thing where, a part of it was stress and, lifestyle and stuff. So again, I don't dig into this sort of stuff much, but it just makes me think that, man, I think we all love what we're doing, but I think we can all push it too much too. And you got to, I guess, check yourself occasionally and be like, well, yeah, maybe there's some healthier things we can do. Right. I mean, it sounds like you've, the tobacco thing, right? That's a hard thing to quit.
Well, it was, and obviously was not something that I was going to be able to do until I quit the drinking thing. And so, quit the one, and the other one actually was not nearly as difficult as it was prior to me quitting drinking. In all honesty, I know a lot of guys out there that like to take, these extracurriculars out into the field, and I'm 100% for it. But I will say that I have had more fun up in the mountains, out on the water, now that I have some sobriety, than I ever did before. And the memories that I'm creating today are dramatically different. Not that I didn't have some amazing, crazy, fun memories that I love sharing with my friends and talking about in certain circles, but I will say that the life that I have today is absolutely amazing. The appreciation that I have for what we have at our disposal, just everything. And I'm very grateful for the path that I've taken. And I'm definitely grateful for where I'm at today in that path. Yeah.
That's I second that. I actually have, I can't remember how long it's been, but I chewed Copenhagen for many, many years, and I quit. I guess it's been 8 or 9 years now. And in fact, I wrote an article back then in the day. I think it's still online. It kind of the 13 things that helped me quit, because it was tough, man. I mean, I loved I love Copenhagen, man. It was like I was so addicted to that stuff and fishing. I couldn't imagine going fishing without it. But I think you're right on, because that's the thing you don't realize when you're in it. When you get out of it and you quit, you realize like, oh my God, it actually is better without it.
Well, and then also the strength that you feel inside, and the new level of confidence that you have. I mean, that's what I think that's part of the reason, not to rabbit hole, but I think that's part of the reason why we have vices, is to actually conquer them and to get over them and to feel that strength and the power and that comes from conquering a vice, whether it's overeating, drinking, tobacco, no matter what it is. The power is overcoming the vice. And so, yeah, I tell people all the time, I'm actually grateful for the issues that I've had, because I wouldn't have the enlightenment or the understanding or the appreciation had I not been where I've been and seen what I've seen.
Yep, for sure. So what on that tip line, this we'll leave it at this, but is there a tip if somebody is, out there and they want to try quitting drinking or chewing, what you'd give them?
Yeah, the same tip I would give for people looking for fishing advice, right? I mean, go to someone who actually can help. I think a lot of people tiptoe around and kind of look for help. And, that's like kind of asking for advice on how to fish. I mean, you really want to quit or you really don't. And so I think asking the people who have been there, done that before, and can give the best guidance is always the right solution. And there's a lot of people out there that are struggling. And again, it takes a strong man or a strong woman to just reach out and say, I need help. But it'll be the single greatest thing that you ever did, especially if you're saying it to a person that can help you.
Nice. Cool. And one last random one here. So if you were to go pro in any sport besides hunting and fishing, what would it be? What were you best at? I'm not even sure if you were into sports or not.
Best at it. But today I would say if I was going to be a pro, I'd be a pro hockey player.
Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely love the sport. I did pick it up later on in life and played for a few years, and just recently, quote unquote, retired. But I love the game of hockey. My son plays it. That's how I got involved in it.
Cool.
What a great sport.
Yep. Yeah, it seems like a sport that you could totally get into. And is it pretty tough on the body?
I think the reason that I quote unquote retired was, again, not a great skater. I didn't want to end up breaking a limb that I didn't need to be. But
right.
But yeah, it's a violent sport. I mean, that's why you have pads from head to toes, and a face mask, and
smashed.
There's sticks and pucks.
That's true.
And in the leagues that I was in, people who can't even skate. So
Jesus.
It's probably dangerous to be out there, but it's a great sport for staying in shape. I think for a lot of us that have a competitive spirit, it's just a lot of fun to get out there. And there's not many sports that you can play as an adult. And I think that's one of the great things about it, is to be able to join a league and go play on Wednesday or Sunday nights and burn off some energy and get a good workout in and have some fun. That's what I enjoyed about it.
Yeah, cool. All right, Brian. Well, hey, let's wrap this up again with the giveaway. So we kind of went off on a tangent there, which was fun. Yeah. But so the giveaway again. So where can they go to? Anything else we want to throw out there where they can go? Any information before we let them go?
I think that just clicking on the link and going to the landing page is going to give them some clear direction and on the exact giveaway and what needs to be done. But again, it's super simple. You click on the link, you fill out your name and email address. That automatically is going to enter you into the giveaway. And then beyond that, we're going to have some different opportunities for you to earn extra points and also, win some of these cool gifts that we're giving away along the way up until the end of the contest.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's one of the things we're going to add some extra points, right? If somebody wants to, if there's something that's we're giving away today, for example, if they enter to win that, then it gives them more points for the big giveaway. Is that right?
Yeah, so I appreciate you bringing that up. So a lot of people in these giveaways feel like, well, if I win a couple hats or if I win that fly line or I win that reel, that it's going to take me out of winning the big prize. And that's not how our giveaway is. Actually, when you win, you're going to accumulate more points toward winning the big gift. So following some of our social media channels is going to get you some extra points, but actually winning is going to get you some extra points toward winning the grand prize.
There you go. Okay.
Bit of a spin on it, that winning is going to help you win.
That winning's going to help you win. I like that. That'll be in the show title here for the show. So, okay, Brian. Well, hey, in the next, we mentioned some stuff in the next 6 months or so. We're going to be doing some more giveaways and stuff. Anything else that you want to mention with your company, yourself, or personally you got coming up in the next 6 to 12 months?
We've got a couple hosted trips that we have. One that we're actually going back to Jurassic Lake at the end of March. So, what people really appreciate of our hosted trips is it gives people the opportunity to go on some of these more extreme adventures that there might be a little bit intimidation, whether it's the flights, the distance, the shuttle, all of the things that can be, involved in a long distance fishing adventure. People have really, really enjoyed the hosted aspect of it, where you've got someone crossing T's and dotting I's. They've been there, done that before, and just make it a little easier. And Jurassic's one of those. I know it's been on people's bucket list for years and years, or a lot of anglers. And the other thing we see is that a lot of people who want to do it don't necessarily have a buddy that has the ability or maybe the deeper pockets to pull a trip like this off. So we've been down there. I think this will be our third year in a row, and we're going down March 21st through the 28th. So we got a couple spots left on that one. We are going on our hosted trip tomorrow to La Pescadora. And then, hopefully you and I are going to put one of those trips together for your listeners here in the fall. So we can talk more about that when we do another podcast together. But some exciting stuff: Christmas Island, La Pescadora, Jurassic Lake, Alaska are just a few of the hosted trips we've got going on here in 2020, in addition to just a bunch of other adventures that we're booking for friends and family that want to go off and have a good time.
Cool. Yeah. And we'll follow up with you here. You mentioned the Mexico thing. I'm excited to hopefully find some people to go on that. And yeah, we'll get you back on the show and we'll talk about that. And I think we didn't dig into, I think you got some other affiliations with some guns and stuff, which is always, I love the, I'm a little bit of a hunter, I do some deer hunting and elk hunting. I'm not like a hardcore, but I think it's an interesting topic because obviously fly fishing, hunting, where it's all outdoors. So maybe when we get time, we'll dig into that later on. But yeah, man, hey, just want to appreciate you for, making the time to do this and sharing, everything we have going. And it'll be fun to keep in touch as we move forward here.
Yeah, really excited to have met you and to have this relationship, and look forward to growing it and along the way putting together some really fun giveaways for our listeners.
Cool, Brian. All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, see ya. So there you go. If you want to find all the show notes with all the links we covered here today, go to wetflyswing.com/giveaway. That's the same spot where you can get all the information you need to enter the giveaway. An email is all it'll take here, and we'll be drawing a winner for the big giveaway here in I guess less than 3 weeks. And but stay tuned. We're going to be giving away more products as we go all week and all next week. So I want to also give one shout out to the Mexico trip that we're planning for this fall. Wetflyswing.com/Mexico. Go there and I'll get you some more information. Thanks again for stopping by today. Take a look at the show. Take a listen. Definitely looking forward to catching up with you soon, and maybe even seeing you on the river.
Thanks for listening to the Wet Fly Swing Fly Fishing Show. For notes and links from this episode, visit wetflyswing.com. And if you found this episode helpful, please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes.